Hey, what's up, guys? Going to be showing you my Beverly Hills Cop collection. And I also will be doing short movie reviews of each film. But I finally got around to watching these films again. I haven't seen them in quite some time. It's been a long time, actually. But it was a nice nostalgic trip down memory lane watching these films again. It was nice to see Eddie Murphy at his prime during the 80s and 90s because, unfortunately, his career declined in the 2000s. And this is definitely my favorite, films he's done, is the Beverly Hills Cop films. And him creating this character, Axel Foley, this wisecracking, street smart, foul mouth, Detroit police officer. And definitely the first film is a classic. It's my favorite film in the series. It's just the one that started it all, but also it has the best story and best humor. Eddie Murphy is definitely doing a lot of improv, and it works really well. Him and the other actors, Judge Reinhold and John Ashton, they're all doing improv, and it just works. They're trying to make a really great film, and the humor definitely works in this film. I laughed a lot. The story's simple. Somebody kills Axel Foley's friend in Detroit, and these people that killed this friend are living in Beverly Hills. So he has to investigate, these people. And he's not supposed to be there. He tells his boss he's on, he's going to go on vacation, but really he's investigating the case. Snooping around and, hassling the people, they get him to, confess or, but he's just, trying to solve the case, and along the way, he's getting thrown out windows, somebody pushes him out of a window. And then the cops arrest him, and then he's telling the cops from Beverly Hills, he's like, I'm on vacation. But the two cops that are, watching him, they're doing like a stakeout, because Axel Foley stays at this hotel, and he knows the cops are following him around, and they're parked out, outside, and he orders them some kind of food or something to distract them, so he can stick a banana on their tailpipe so they won't follow him when he goes and follows these bad guys, so he can find out the reason behind why they killed his friend was, which it has to do with drugs. But eventually all these guys, they work together and they stop the bad guys. I mean, it's a pretty simple storyline, but it's just, it's a funny film, and I like the buddy kind of cop type of thing with, Axel Foley and was it John and Billy, the other two cops from Beverly Hills. And I think eventually, the lieutenant in Beverly Hills, he eventually becomes buddy with them as well. So it's pretty cool, these guys becoming friends and solving the case, and it's a pretty cool story, really funny. But yeah, definitely a good film. Definitely my favorite in the series. And then we have Beverly Hills Cop 2, which it's a little bit different. This one's more of an action film than really a comedy. It does have funny parts in it, but it feels more like an action film, because the first film felt more like a comedy with a little action in it, but this one definitely has more action in it. And I can appreciate on a visual level, it has a nice, look to it. And some of the humor works, some of it, I don't know. It could be better, but for the most part, it's a satisfying sequel. I don't know if it's very plausible, though. I mean, the same situation happens again. It feels like kind of like a retread. A lot of people have said this is kind of like a remake of the first film. Kinda, little. But in this kind of line of work that they're doing, people are going to get shot or killed, and they have to investigate things. But, so I guess it's plausible in the sense, but at the same time, it's kind of strange that in each film, in the series, it's always somebody that's close to Axel Foley that gets, shot or killed. It seems like they had they're playing on the same theme. But yeah, I mean, Axel Foley joins up with his buddies, John and Billy, in Beverly Hills, and they try to solve this case because somebody shot the lieutenant there in Beverly Hills, and they got to solve it. And I do like the action. I do like the humor when it does work. But it does feel like a retread of the first film in ways. But it's a fun sequel. It's just not as good as the original. But it has its moments. It's satisfying enough. And then we have Beverly Hills Cop 3. This film has not aged well. Wow. I watched this about a few hours ago. Really, this is where they ended with this third film. The problem with this third film is that it's not really funny. I have to be honest. I mean, I haven't seen it in a long time, and I remember thinking it was good. At the time, I thought it was better than the second film. But then again, I haven't seen it in a long time since then. Because I haven't seen it since it was released, which was what, 1994? So watching it now, this film has problems. The main problem is Eddie Murphy. Not kidding. Eddie Murphy's the problem, which is kind of odd. Eddie Murphy is really just there to make money. He's not really being that funny. He's kind of just, I don't know. I heard he made $15 million. He took it and ran. I don't know. I mean, the idea of putting Axel Foley in an amusement park, I don't know if that works. Because it's really confusing. Because what the hell are they trying to make? Is this a film for kids or is this a film for adults? It's like they're trying to have both. And it doesn't really quite work. Because you got moments where it feels like it's for a kid. And then you got, Axel Foley dropping F-bombs. And I guess maybe kids would find that funny. Cussing a lot, saying fuck this and fuck that. But after a while, it doesn't really become funny anymore. At least in the first two films, the humor worked. In this, I swear there's like 50 F-bombs. It's like after a while, it's like, is this supposed to be funny? There's a couple amusing things about this film, a couple little moments. Like in the beginning, No, with him driving the car, and the car, there's things coming off of it. The guy shooting at Axel Foley, driving his car, and his his freaking passenger seat gets blown off, just totally comes out of the car, and you got his hood of the car is, being blown off, and it's pieces of the car is just like coming apart. So I mean, that part's kind of funny, and little moments, but you got Eddie Murphy dressed up as a freaking elephant pushing a kid in water. I mean, I thought it was funny when I was a kid, but watching it now, it's like, it kind of seems kind of lame. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things that are wrong with this film. I mean, it just doesn't really work. I have to say, it's definitely not as good as the first two films. I thought back in the day that 3 was better than 2, but now watching these films back to back, 3 is definitely the weakest one. I have to say it is. But is it the worst sequel ever made? No, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I can watch it as a time waster. I wouldn't rant the film, but I can understand why people don't like it. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have to really say about these films. Eddie Murphy, being this wisecracking, street smart cop who is a fun type of person, has a lot of energy to him. He's kind of immature, but yet he's fun, at least in the first 2 films. The third film, they try to mature his character, which, it's character development. I mean, that's fine to mature his character a little bit in the third film, but at least give him something to, make him funny in some way. I don't know what they were really thinking with this film. I mean, they weren't trying hard enough. I mean, dropping F-bombs is not gonna save your film. It felt like they just didn't have really much of a script to work with, and Eddie Murphy didn't really have much to do, and maybe he just wasn't into it. Maybe he's just trying to get money. It just seems like he seemed off. I mean, it's fine if you try to change his character a little bit to mature him, but he still felt off. He didn't have that flair about him, that comedic flair. He just didn't work in this picture. But definitely, I can say that at least the Beverly Hills Cop films, they at least eventually stopped. They didn't keep making more and more and more. They didn't drag it, to the ground like Die Hard and all these other films. I can say at least they eventually just, they knew it was time to put a stop to it. I heard they're supposed to make a part 4, but I really doubt that's ever going to happen. They've been talking about that since when it was like 20 years ago. They've been talking about Beverly Hills Cop 4. I don't think that's going to happen. This is my thoughts on Beverly Hills Cop franchise. Hope you guys enjoyed this collection and movie review video. And I hope you guys have a good day. Take it easy.